Millions of refugees fleeing Ukraine, as you can see from this stunning picture from the Daily Mail. This was shot earlier in the week as the country faces a 14th day of Russian attacks, yet China refusing to call this an invasion. Joining me right now is Hudson Director of Chinese Strategy, Michael Pillsbury. Michael, it's great to see you. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you. China claims to have a, quote, special relationship with Russia. Your reaction to the Russia-China partnership?
Well, I think it's true. Xi Jinping and Putin have met more than 30 times. It was Xi Jinping's first foreign trip when he took over China. The Chinese have announced, no one seems to be reporting this in our domestic media, Maria, but the Chinese have announced they're not going to observe the sanctions. At the same time, they're providing interbank cross-border facilities to China. They've got their own SWIFT system in China. It's only 10 or 20% as big as the real SWIFT, but they're trying to grow it, take advantage of this crisis in many ways to grow their own economy. There's been a series of comments by the Chinese that they feel they have a friend in President Biden. He wants a kind of soft, benign competition with them as opposed to what the previous administration was trying to do. And they like this. You may have seen the video clip, the Chinese professor saying, don't worry about America, quote, we have friends at the top in Washington, D.C., unquote.
Well, and they do. I mean, there are plenty of conflicts of interest that we have reported on, that the Biden family has accepted money from the Chinese Communist Party. Is that part of it?
Very much part of it, and the Chinese sort of speak openly about this. I noticed your interview with Jamie Dimon. They rebroadcast that in China. You have some friends in China, and Jamie Dimon kind of warned you. I saw the interview. He kind of warned you, Maria, we have to get used to being number two. We'll still be richer, but we're going to be number two. Just get used to it. This is the official Chinese line. One of their top economists just yesterday, Justin Lin Yifu, used to be chief economist at the World Bank, has the University of Chicago PhD in economics. He's a key advisor to Xi Jinping. He said yesterday, we're going to surpass the Americans ahead of schedule, roughly 2030. So 7 or 8 more years, they will have global primacy. And I think their exploitation of this Ukraine invasion is going to be part of the story for how they surpassed us. We just don't seem to understand that China is supporting Putin.
Yeah, but Michael, you have to believe that, you know, this war has been a lot tougher than Putin thought, than Xi Jinping thought. I mean, to look at the extraordinary strength of the Ukrainian people, ordinary Ukrainians picking up guns and arming themselves to fight back. What do you think China is taking away from this? Because I think Putin and Xi Jinping both thought that this was going to be over in a couple of days. Well, we're in day 12, and they still have not controlled any major area in Ukraine.
Well, that's right, and it's causing an important change in China in their war plans for Taiwan. They seem to be saying that they underestimated Taiwan's strength, and they underestimated how Taiwan's friends could help them in a crisis. What they're taking away from the historic stand of President Zelensky is they better be careful and be sure that if they invade Taiwan, they have enough troops, they neutralize the missiles and tanks and Taiwan's Navy quickly, and they get it over fast. In the past, they've talked, Maria, more about the long-term boycott or blockade or some kind of 6-month campaign. They're now thinking in China, their military is writing about this, that because of what happened in Ukraine, they've got to conquer Taiwan. They've got to conquer Taiwan much more quickly.
And what to make of President Zelensky? What do you think Putin is saying, and how is Xi Jinping reacting to see the strength on display from the president of Ukraine? Let's take a look at him yesterday as he faced the UK Parliament and gets a standing ovation. Listen. As he channeled Winston Churchill, saying they will fight to the end.
Well, they see Tsai Ing-wen, the president of Taiwan. They see the president of Taiwan in the same way. If they attempt to take Taiwan by force, which they've been talking about for decades, will Tsai Ing-wen stand up this way? Will she attract global support? Will Taiwan be defended? This is what they're asking themselves, and they don't like what is happening. They've been hinting, their foreign minister now 2 times has talked about the need for negotiations and a ceasefire. So it looks like China thinks Putin's made his point. Now he needs to negotiate neutrality and stop the violence. This is a strange thing for China to do, but overall it's part of their 100-year marathon strategy, Maria, to try to become the #1 power in the world. They want to benefit from this crisis.
Yeah. And what can the U.S. do to put that off or to stop that? I mean, look, let's face it, Michael. I think most people understand that they will not have the same upbringing and the opportunities that they had. Their kids, and their grandkids are not going to have those opportunities that they had in a Chinese empire where the Communist Party is the #1 superpower of the world. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree, Maria. I agree with you, but I think the majority of the voters, you know, this famous 74 million versus 81 million for Biden versus Trump, I think what's happening with the so-called suburban housewives and the college graduates in their 20s, they don't believe that China will take over. They believe very strongly in this China collapse theory or China slowdown, and they can't envisage a world in which China is #1. I don't know the way to stop that, because we believe deeply that China can't possibly surpass us. At least Biden picked up on this from President Trump, and Biden's been saying, I don't want China to surpass us on my watch. But I don't see the public opinion changing that much toward the idea of a China-controlled world will be bad for housewives and college graduates. They seem to still prefer Biden.
Well, what about the economy and our reliance on semiconductors, okay? I mean, the Russian sanctions have driven a renewed focus on America's reliance on foreign sources. Semiconductors made in Taiwan is one red flag, given that the CCP has said that Taiwan is part of China. We are expecting, a power grab at some point. What will that mean for the world if the CCP controls the majority of semiconductors made in Taiwan?
Well, you and I know the threat, and a lot of Americans do. But what shall I say, the AOC squad team, if you look at their statements on China or the protection of Taiwan or semiconductor dependence, they just don't talk about it. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party was interested in the beginning in American jobs being lost to China. But now Bernie Sanders has even dropped that. Bernie Sanders put out a very interesting article, Maria, that talks about the need to be friends with China. So the progressive side of our Democratic Party is really combining with the Jamie Dimons of the world to make this Chinese dream come true. That, as they put it, we have friends at the top in Washington, D.C. I think they probably include Wall Street as well, Maria.
Yeah, absolutely, because they've been giving them honeypots to allow them to own and operate their own businesses in China.
Yes.
How will that play out? How will that story end, Michael? Real quick, final word.
As you know, trade with China has been going up the past year. Private equity, overall American investment in China has been going up. So despite the warnings that you've issued, that I've issued, that some people are concerned President Trump tried to turn it around. Despite all that, the trends are really bad for us, losing our primacy. And Jamie Dimon may be a prophet telling you a couple months ago, get used to it, Maria, we're going to be #2. I don't want to forecast that, but that's how the trends look.
Michael, thanks so much for being here. Michael Pillsbury joining us from the Hudson Institute. We'll check back soon. Michael, thank you, sir. We will be right back.